Hey, Star Wars fans and Rule of the Galaxy fans. It is Joe and D-Doc. And yes, we are going live on a late Friday night, but really it's because we haven't been around each other enough. And I did not get to go hang with Brent, Alfie, and D-Doc at ICC. So this is Rule of the Galaxy chapter 293, but it's kind of a free-for-all with me and D-Doc. Alfie's finishing up with football. Brent's in Disney. So me and D-Doc are here on a Friday night just having a good time. D-Doc, miss you, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good. We missed you at the ICCC. You are the leader of this podcast. I feel it when you're not there. So we definitely were missing you. I wish you could have been down there, but we did our best to represent the RTG crew while we were down there. We were wearing our gear and everything, so it was good.
You guys did great. I loved the pre-night show where you guys were in the hotel room. Brent Dykeman, all the way down in Disney, coming to see us. How you doing, brother?
So is Brent hitting Disney now after he went down there for the hurricane? Is he getting a little dose of magic?
I'm pretty sure he is. I'm sure he'll chime in here in a minute, but I bank at the bank where one of his best friend works, and he and his best friend and their two wives always go to Disney together. And I was at the bank and I was like, hey, oh, there we go. Not Disney, just Florida at my dad's place.
Go to Disney.
That's right. It's calling your name, Brent. You need one more ride on the what's that, Smuggler's Run.
Yes, he hasn't gone on it enough.
So yeah, I mean, those guys are down there. Alfie's high school football, but I loved your, again, opening night kind of thing in the hotel room with you guys hanging with Hyperspace Heroes. And then I thought you guys did a fantastic job with one, our show that you did live, and then two, the show with the two gentlemen, Aiden Cook and Steven Constantino, right? There we go. Brent's going to swim with the sharks.
Nice. Apparently, you could just go out in the street and swim with sharks, with some of the stuff going on there with the weather. I mean, geez.
I know.
Florida, it's just crazy. But yeah, the interviews, the interview with Aiden Cook and Constantino were very cool because it was one of those things where as we're interviewing them, I realized I'm like, we have like original trilogy, like practical effects versus modern practical effects, which I wish we could have gotten an hour-long podcast with those guys because I think, obviously it's not practical to have an hour-long podcast, but if that podcast was an hour long, I'm confident it would have turned into like learning a lot about old school practical effects versus new school. And I said to Brent, the one thing that I was upset about is like I didn't get the chance to just finish the episode off on it. I wanted to say, it's funny. Both of you guys started in musical arts. One of you was in a band, one of you is in dance, and somehow the two of you found your way into Star Wars.
That's exactly what I was thinking when I was listening to it. Like Joey tells me all the time, like people used to tell him what he could and couldn't do, right? Oh, you can't go be an entertainer or you can't do this. And really, I mean, listening to you guys talk to those guys, think about it. That guy's in a band. Next thing you know, he's talking to Billy D. Williams. Next thing you know, he's on the set of Return of the Jedi. Life's what you make of it, and it's the chances you take and all those kind of things. So fantastic. And Aiden doing what, children's TV shows where dance and stuff was involved in puppets, and next thing you know, he's in Star Wars movies.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy.
It is. It's a fantastic thing. And then there's guys like us who you're doing DIY. I'm sitting here talking to you in the past about all these different podcasts and YouTube channels I want to do. You never know what's out there. I mean, you never know what's going to turn the corner on you.
So, Joe, this is off topic, but I need to tell the story because it has nothing to do with Star Wars. I saved a dog today.
No way. Time.
And I have a picture of the dog right here. See this little dog?
Yes.
I'm working, and this story, it's going to be like a 3 to 5 minute story, but it's pretty epic. Okay. Alfie, you're welcome to jump on here. And I'll make this story very brief, Joe, but you'll like this because this dog was like about the size of your dogs.
Yes.
I'm finishing this bathroom, I'm painting, and out the window I see this dog in the bush outside. And I'm like, that's not this lady's dog. And I see it go to into her garage. So I go outside, I see the dog in the garage. The dog's like panning hardcore, turns around, sees me, and freezes. So then I call the woman whose house I'm working at. I say, hey, I was like, do you know, is there a dog that gets out here? Because there's a dog and it happened to walk into your garage. I'm 3 houses away from River Road, which runs along the Delaware River.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a main road,
Oh yeah.
35 miles an hour. Beautiful scenes along it, but it's the Delaware River, right near where George Washington crossed the Delaware River. This dog, I had it kind of cornered. While I'm on the phone, sneaks past me. Dog's going to the main road. Now, I'm not trying to do the chase because I don't want to push it towards the road, but I'm doing the speed walk. Dog goes directly for the road. Thank God, 2 cars. And it's like perfect scenario where they're so close. The dog probably should have got hit by the cars. Both people stop. I'm still cooking after this dog. Follow it all the way down to the Delaware River to where I have people standing out of their cars watching me. The dog's climbing on the rocks. I get this dog. Finally, me and this other lady get the dog. Its tags are from Jersey. They
So
don't know
it's
how the
across the
dog.
river.
They don't know how the dog got over here. I'm
Oh
telling you, because I'm looking at the tags. I'm like, the tags say Hopewell, New Jersey. The people who own the dog are out of town. She took it to their vet. They had a dog sitter. The dog sitter's in Jersey. They don't know how the dog got to Pennsylvania. It either took a bridge or swam across the Delaware River.
Come on, it couldn't have. I've seen the Delaware River. I've crossed it. There's no way a little dog that size is crossing that
I
river.
know, exactly. It wasn't dirty or anything either. So I'm like, how did it get over here? Either the dog sitter's lying and they like took the dog with. I don't know. But man, it was one of those moments where I was walking up from the river with the dog and I kind of looked up at the road and saw these like people, all these people, these cars stop like looking at me. And I was like, I'm a effing hero right now.
That's freaking great.
So that's my little story of the day. I saved a dog today and I was proud of it. You see a dog in that situation, I'm one of those guys where I'm just like, I got to be the one to step in here and do this, you know?
I love it, and I will tell you, I know I'm messed up as a human being, but I sometimes have more care and concern for dogs than for people. Like not in a mean way, but like I feel like dogs get in situations they can't help, and you think sometimes people can. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way, but I would have been losing my, you know what, seeing a dog in that situation because
My heart when I
yeah.
saw it going to the road, I thought it 1,000 times in 1 second. Please don't let me see this dog get hit by a car right now because I let it slip past me. And the problem was when the dog was in the garage, I'm like, this dog is disoriented. It's obviously lost. I don't want to make it feel like I'm cornering it
Right.
and, make it the situation worse. I just wanted to let it chill for a minute. And yeah, but there was a woman who's like, I'll take him to the vet. There was a little dog it was a girl dog. It had a little bow in its hair. There was a woman who said, I'll take him. Yeah, it's like Homeward Bound. It had a little bow.
Did you let her?
So the lady gave me a nut. She's like, she looked at me and sees that I'm, in construction work clothes. She's like, do you do work in houses? Can I get your number? I need some work done in my
Oh my
house too.
gosh. Saving dogs and getting jobs.
And guess what? I looked in the mirror to see what I was like, what am I even wearing right now? I'm wearing my Luke Skywalker, May the Force be with you t-shirt too.
Oh
So
my gosh.
I had the Force on my side today when I saved that dog.
Hey, you know what? That's a proud moment right there. That's a tip your cap kind of moment. That's awesome. I
Yeah.
mean, I love those stories, and I'm glad because Joey's dog got hit while he was out of town, and I had to go meet the people who grabbed it on the road at the emergency pet hospital, and I thought I'm walking in and I'm gonna have to call Joey and tell him we're putting his dog down, right? Nope. Spent the weekend in my house. all beat up, ginger, and all walking gingerly and everything, and survived, kicking strong right now today. But I know exactly what you're thinking. That whole thought going through your head is, I'm gonna have either a dog put down or I'm gonna see it get killed, and it just rips
Yeah,
your heart out. Yeah,
yeah. But
I don't
we
know.
we had a win today, so that's good. And
Good.
so did what's Joey's dog's name again?
Oh gosh,
Happy.
happy. Yeah.
Happy. Yeah. I heard him tell that story on these guys, and I was
Oh
picturing
god.
you in that situation.
I'm eating dinner. Phone rings. Dad. Yeah. Happy got hit. Joe, you're in Chicago. I know. My neighbor's got the dog. You got to meet him at the pet at the hospital. And I'm like,
That's worst case scenario. Like that's
ah,
like crazy. That's
yeah.
like the one thing that like you're going away, you have someone to watch your dog, and it's
Mm.
like, and that's what these people apparently the vet contacted the owners of this dog. They're on a flight home, and they're like, yeah, like that's our dog. Like
Oh man.
they don't know how it got to Pennsylvania.
Well, so let's hop back into it. Yeah,
Yeah,
Alfie
sorry.
and Brent. No, no, no. I love that story. I'm glad I heard it because it actually like warms my heart a little bit. But Brent and Alfie are obviously paying attention and listening here. I think you should tell some secrets and some stuff like, which one of them had too many drinks, or which one of them spent too much money when they shouldn't have, or, all those kind of things. I
Well,
mean,
the person who had too much drinks is on the show right now, so that's easy. And it was the last night per usual for me. It's like I always have good pace, and then it's like the last night gets the best of me. There you go. There's Brent.
ye-
But Brent did kind of the night before, although Brent just kind of cut himself off and started watching the Falcons and relaxed. I
you
don't
know,
have it. I don't. I'm either off or on. That's the problem with
mhm.
me. And once it's turned on until I'm gonna go to sleep or whatever.
Eh,
Me and
eh,
Alfie had a good night that night. We're having some. We're
eh.
having some late night conversations, me and Alfie outside, which was really cool. It was really nice to just, touch base and just like BS and just talk about life with the guys and everything. And it is funny that it's like, it's the second time I've ever met Alfie. It's the
Mhm.
first time I met Brent. And I was extremely comfortable sharing a hotel room with the two of them. Me and Brent even decided to share a bed the last night.
Dear gosh. That's a very funny thought right there because Brent's a huge man. He's a big guy.
He
Uh,
was sleeping on the couch, and it was a small couch. He slept on it the first night, and I said to him, I was like, "Brent, just go to sleep in that side." I was like, "I'll sleep here. I won't touch you. I'll face this way and just pass out," which I definitely did that night. So
Alfie, with him listening right now, 2 years ago, we went to ICCC. He and I shared a room, and Alfie will be the first one to tell you. I had no idea. Well, this guy will tell me he had snoring problems, and I was like, "Oh, no, that's no problem. We're good." And I had to get up out of the room we were in and go sleep somewhere else in another room because I could not. Alfie is Man, Alfie can snore. He'll tell you. It's like a construction site where he's sleeping.
Alfie warned about the snore. Okay. So the first night one that they're there, we're going to sleep, and I could hear it kind of start to rumble. I'm like, no, that's not too bad, whatever. And I fell asleep. I woke up at like 2 a.m. and he's like letting them blast.
Oh man. See, even Brent agrees. The
And
volume
I
of
didn't
snoring.
want Alfie to feel bad about it too, because I was like, you don't have to be like sorry for anything, because I can sleep through an earthquake. I woke up, I heard it, and then went back to sleep. But I did wake up and say, like, that's a power snore. Like that is like a next level one.
I wasn't so worried about being I wasn't so worried about staying up with it.
It's
I was more worried
amazing.
about his health. I mean, I was like,
We
Alfie,
told
that
him he needs to do sleep study.
yeah, I was like, buddy, you need to get that checked. Just I'm afraid you're gonna hurt yourself in the middle of the night. So we've talked about sleeping situations and everything, and you guys had some sodas. You got to hang out with the Hyperspace Heroes guys. That's a lot of fun. Um, you got to sit in a hotel room with Gold Leader from A New Hope, and sit and talk to him right there face to face, right? That's pretty cool. The guys you interviewed were pretty cool. You got to hang out with Mark Thompson. What was Brent playing cards with Mark Thompson? Was he playing a Star Wars game?
They were having a private game in the restaurant lounge of their card game. I'm telling you, it's like the stuff you see there. It was really fun staying with like all of the people around because it kind of feels like the convention kind of never ends.
Yeah.
And you can take your breaks in your room if you want. You know, you can. We went out to dinner. We went out to lunch one day. Like we had our, things we did separately from the convention, but it was cool to really be like in it and just like kind of see everyone around and talk to other people and everything there. I actually saw some guys that I subscribed to on YouTube that I was just like, what the heck? I'm like, you're here. I subscribed to you on YouTube. I follow your videos. Like, there's this one YouTube channel called Out of the Basement. They cover Star Wars Black Series.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not gonna say I watch every single thing they put out, but I've watched their videos a couple of years ago till now. Like I've seen their stuff. Just because there's not many like Star Wars Black Series dedicated YouTube channels, and I liked their channel, like seeing the stuff they said, and it was pretty cool to talk to them. And you know how it is. It's like
Oh
you're
yeah.
at this convention. It's like you're waiting in line. We met this guy, Dave, who does Star Wars dioramas with vintage collection and everything. And next thing you know, we're just BSing with him. And I've already, talked to him through YouTube since the convention.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like you make these random friends waiting in line to buy a sandwich. It's like crazy.
Well, it's like Rick Prince. You guys, I saw the picture with him. That was awesome. He and I just done a show with him recently, talking about Rebel Legion and 501st and all that stuff. He's fantastic. We met him 2 years ago at ICCC, and we've been in touch with him ever since. He's a great guy. We of course, the guests we talked to between Vanessa Marshall and Femi Taylor, any of them are always fantastic. But like Willie Harms, the first year there, Willie Harms, one of our usual podcast listeners, we're sitting in line. They're like, "Hey, Joe, hey, Brent, guys, do you want to hop in line with us to go to this?" Like, yeah, yeah. So it's wait, if I had a nickel for every character I've randomly met, I'd have 3 nickels. Yeah, well, you've met some cool people, Alf.
Alfie asked Gold Leader a great question, and I can't remember what it was
I'm
because
sure he'll remember it.
he it was like, damn, it was a good question, and he was like, he liked the question and gave a good answer for it too, and I just can't remember it. Ugh,
Well,
damn, Alfie, try to remember that and throw it in the comments.
I tell you what, it warmed my heart when I saw you showing the stuff about the old Kenner line, and now you've got some of those. Yeah, I mean, come on, that's right here behind me. I've got the same. Yeah, so look at us.
That's awesome. Now, when I bought these, they were trying to convince me. They're like, "Why aren't you buying the $7 ones that have the capes on them?" And I was just like, "I already have these, and these were my chosen ones. This is what I'm going with." I was like,
I,
"I just want to start with some beaters. They're $5 a piece."
That's you know what? I'll take every single beater that I can find. And Alfie was kind enough to help me find the last 3 I was needing. That I had 2 of them, and then Frankie and the dogs destroyed 2 of them. But he helped me find some ones I was missing. It's fantastic. Well, by the next time we do a show, I'm gonna revamp this behind me because I'm gonna put the original 12, all behind me somewhere back here. So they'll be on.
Maybe that's my next woodworking project for you, Joe. Maybe I'll make a little custom shelf for your
Oh.
vintage. Because I'm itching to do a woodworking project. I haven't done one for a while, and once I'm done this bathroom, which, it's been a hard one. It really has been. But
Well, that one you've got over to your left, I think it was the Beerstein one that has Black Series, I think, in it, right? Don't you have one
yeah,
on the wall? I like those kind of things are awesome, and to have like little cubby holes to where I could have each of these guys just sitting or standing on a stand in each one of those
I could make a
would be
nice one for them because you know what it was that hooked me. Alfie was looking for the Jawa for you. and the little Jawa.
Yeah, yeah. I got him right here. I picked up my stuff, which, by the way, I mean, so I got the Jawa. He got the Jawa, the
I
Tusken
found that
Raider.
Jawa, and
No
I was
way.
so proud of myself for it because I was like, there you go. You got the hammerhead, which Scruffy will like that because Scruffy bought about 20 hammerheads while we were there because he's
Yeah,
building a 150 hammerhead army.
Army. Yeah, crazy.
It's hilarious. Um, but you know what it is? It's just like I felt like it was like I've always seen these figures, and it was something about just kind of picking them up and looking at them where it was like I just had this moment where I was like, I get it, you know? And since I've gotten just and I was like, where do I start? I'm looking at all of them and I'm just like, why not start with Obi-Wan and Anakin? Like those are the two where I should get it started and go from there. Um which it's obviously Darth Vader, but you know, that's like the core of Star Wars
Sure.
right there. You know, I could get obviously the core group that's released, which since I've gotten these, I'm finding myself like watching Kenner documentaries on YouTube and how
Mm.
unlikely this was that they did what they
Did
did.
so you watch how the toys that made us? Did you watch that video? It's on Netflix.
I didn't
You
watch the toys that made us
you
yet.
need to. It's a Star Wars. It's a Kenner Star Wars one. It's on Netflix, I believe. I think it's called The Toys That Made Us or something like that. But
It is, yeah,
it's
I've heard of that.
oh man, I watch it every time. I'm like, man, no, it's just it takes me right back. So I think what you're seeing is, and Brent, we joke with him. He does, like he says he doesn't get it, but like me picking this up and looking at it, it just makes me feel like I'm 8.
Yeah.
Make them feel like I'm 9 years old, and I'm like, this is so cool, right? And it's a piece of plastic. It's pretty much worthless to most people, but yeah.
And that's what it's funny because Hyperspace knows this, Alfie knows this, Brent probably does. I don't remember if Brent was hitting as many room sales with us or not. I think he did the first night for a little bit. But there was a pod racer that I had
Hmm.
as a kid, and Alfie has that. I couldn't fit that in my I said to my wife, I was like, I'm gonna have two things coming from Alfie because and she's like, What how much stuff did you buy? I'm like, I just can't fit it in my like luggage without it probably getting destroyed. But that was like me being a prequel kid, that pod racer was like the thing where I'm just like, I just remember playing within my yard and pretending I had a pod race in my yard and stuff like that. And I'll probably pull it out of the box when I get it here, but that's what it did for me.
It's fantastic, and I'm glad you got that. I will tell you, I think, so obviously you guys had the ICCC. I will let you know, I sat at a hotel on a lake in southern Indiana, which was great. Had a great time with my brothers and sisters. I'll tell you guys a story offline that I can't tell online about gummies and people and things like that. We'll have that discussion off YouTube. But we've talked. Do Lori and I figure out a way to come out to Philly in December to see the Steelers Eagles game? That's high on my list, so high on my agenda, right? March of next year, the Great Ohio Toy Show. Yes, I know it's only 3 hours away from us and a lot longer from you, but like you said, it's on a weekend only, right? So can we?
I'll be looking for this stuff there if
That's
we go.
and that's what I was gonna say. If you go in there, like the amount of tubs and everything at the one at ICCC is great, but a Great Ohio Toy Show, honestly, I mean, like literally, Alfie and I could spend 2 days just digging through old tubs and bins of
Yeah.
beaters, and it's wild. You can walk out of there and you're like, oh, I got this for $2, this for $4, and it's fantastic. But it's a great show. It's a great
My
place.
my highlight of ICCC that was consistent the entire time that I couldn't wait for each day. And the convention is obviously awesome. Like the convention is why we're there. The room sales were awesome. I loved the room sales. Each room you walked into, the people were usually super nice. You got to meet these people from all over the place. We had a guy from the UK who was hitting everything there. By the end of ICCC, he had bought this R2D2, like it almost looked like a clothes hamper that he had all of his stuff in. He literally turned a family vacation or a holiday. He turned his holiday into him going. He had ICCC and Ohio Toy Show as his highlights of his vacation, traveling to the United States. So
Yeah.
this guy is there just like kid in a candy store. He's loving it. And it was so cool to hear that he's going to Ohio Toy Show as well. Like it's cool to think like we're, it's cool to go to this stuff because you got people traveling from other countries to go out there to experience it.
No, it is. It is. I can't promote either one of them enough. They both do their own certain things.
That's my room shopping prize possession right here. Was this pit droid from 2000.
Man,
that's old school Lego and I got it for I saw it. I'm like, this has got to be $100, like at least when I saw it.
Right.
I said to the guy, I was like, and I'm not a haggler either, but like you get comfortable like talking to these people. It's kind of weird. I was like, what do you got on this? He's like, I was going to do 45. I'll do 40. Done.
That's fantastic.
I had no clue of the online value of it, but I'm just like, $40, sure. Day one, I spent $0. And then it's just like, I'm very like calculated. And then it finally started flowing a little bit. I really didn't spend a lot though for all I got.
I'm not like Alfie. We all know Alfie can pull that trigger, man. He can go. I'm much more like you to where like, okay, if I'm here on Friday and I see this, if it's still there on Saturday and okay, now I'm going to limit down. What are the things I really want to focus on? Can I get some better pricing on them, or can I haggle with them a little bit, right? Yeah, here's Alfie. We'll talk about how much I spent. Yes, we know, Alfie.
Everything was good deals he got still, though. Alfie had a good pile, but he got good deals on all of it. There's deals to be found.
I always love his pictures of his stuff that he gets. And so, yes, he got not only the stuff that he was buying, but then the signed Grand Admiral Thrawn from Timothy Zahn right there. And now, because of Alfie and you guys standing in line for me, I now have all 3 of the Timothy Zahn original novels, all 3 of them signed by Timothy Zahn. And I mean, those are that you can talk about treasures. I mean, for me,
I got pictures of him signing them, so it's authentic.
I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. And then to come back and all that's going on, and then I order this, and it's the secrets of the Clone Troopers, and it's read or written by Rex. Like, remember Mark Sumerak, who we interviewed?
Yeah,
he wrote this as well through Inside Editions, and I saw it, and I was like, well, I've got some of the other books like this. I need this one, and then I found out it was basically narrated by Rex. Come on, I mean, I've already got this stuff going of Rex. I've got a whole shelf back here behind me that is too high that you can't see of basically all Captain Rex. So I'm just like kid in a candy store now that all this is going on. And while that's going on, Lori and I stopped by Ollie's, and I bought a Black Series 6-inch Bo-Katan for $9. I mean, I was like, come on. It's just crazy, the stuff that's out there. But I can justify those things where they're, as much as I love the stuff, like now that I've got this Rex helmet, I'm sitting there and I'm walking through the Lego aisle every day, every time I go into Target and Walmart and stuff, and I'm like, man, those look really good of these other things, right? The Falcon and some of these dioramas and the Lego, but I just can't put that money down. Some of those things are so pricey.
One of the best conversations we had, which was off the record, so I won't go into the details of the conversation on the podcast, but one of the sellers at ICCC was the vice president of Hasbro and Star Wars for 18 years. And we got to pick his brain a little bit about what he did while he was there and kind of what they do now. So, not saying the conversations were good or bad. It was just very interesting to hear some perspective on it because we talk about it all the time. We
Yeah.
really do. And it was cool to hear, the ideas he was pushing and how they do get pushed through and, like what the process is like. And, Alfie obviously brought up, stuff being on the shelves when shows come out and stuff like that. And it was just a very interesting conversation to have. It was cool. That's the random stuff that like just happens at ICCC. Like we're just like, what the hell? Like, how are we in this conversation right now?
Did you guys go to any interviews that I didn't see? Like, did you guys go listen to any of the people do interviews?
We did hear interviews in the podcast room. I'm trying to think of some of the ones while we were in there. I mean, we listened to the entire Timothy Zahn one, which
Okay.
I haven't done all the Thrawn books, but listening to Zahn talk for me was just like awesome. Because that's the first time I've sat in a room and just listened to him talk Star Wars and how he thinks about this stuff and everything. And I'm just like, I love this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I've only done like half of the Thrawn book, which it's like I got audiobook ADD and just never finished it. It just happens to me sometimes where I'll just get distracted from an audiobook and it just happens. I'll be like, I'm not paying enough attention to this. I need to come back to it like tomorrow or another day. And then I just forget to continue. And I need to do that with his books because just listening to him talk about Star Wars and even hearing, some of the stuff that he was talking about with Star Wars in general, not even to do with his books. It's just awesome. I really like the guy. I'm a big fan of him. I'm a fan of him before I'm a fan of his books now, which I like that.
That's awesome. Dr. Squatch is saying, hey, Dr. Squatch, always glad to have you here. Alfie says we were too busy doing 12-ounce arm curls instead of being at the shows. Brent, we did not say in the podcast room much. Hyperspace was on a ton. And Hyperspace says the off-air conversations he had in the room after the podcast was just as good.
Man, I would love to talk about those, but I'm not going to.
Well, I told Joey, and this last Christmas, I bought him the original Thrawn trilogy, and he was like, "Dad, I can't wait. I want to read these," because he never did. They came out right when you guys were being born, and so I was like, "Get the audiobooks and listen to Mark Thompson do them." Then, if you can't take the time to read it when you're driving, when you're cutting the grass, when you're walking the kids, whatever, put it in, listen to it. I was like, you're going to look, everything that I love about Star Wars kind of got wrapped up in the Thrawn trilogy. It just was fantastic, and it's one of my upper echelon things of Star Wars. So,
and you can tell at ICCC, it's a lot of people's there as well for how many people you just see so excited to go talk to him, and he gives everyone their time who is talking to him. It's cool. It really is. And he was right next to Mark Thompson. So the two of them were set up right next to each other. And Mark Thompson as well, just like totally normal guy. Awesome to see him. Totally nice. Like he was great as well. Like everyone there was. I mean, everyone's like very personable and everything. And it's like, like I said, it's okay for me to say it. I did not know Stephen Constantino was going to be on our podcast till 1 minute before it.
Yeah.
And it's like podcast panic. Then you're talking and Brent's going to roll his eyes when he hears me say that. But, you just have a conversation with these guys and sometimes they seem even just as excited to be there as you are. We finished up our podcast and Stephen Constantino was like, hey, can someone get a picture of us up here with my phone? And you're just like, all right. The guy who was in Return of the Jedi wants to get a picture of us up here with him. It's just it's a cool thing. It seems like everyone's kind of like on an even playing ground there. It's fun.
I will say I've been to Celebration a few times. One quite a long time ago. One in 2019, and Celebration is fantastic. And being around the fans there is fantastic. But you don't get this kind of access. And obviously, I wasn't doing a podcast at the time when I was going to those. But yeah, I mean this access at ICCC is off the charts. And yes, Dr. Squatch, I'm telling you, trust me now. When you read or listen to the Thrawn trilogy, and yes, I still suggest if you don't have time, listen to the Mark Thompson versions on audiobooks, you'll love it, and you'll think, man, this feels like it just came right off the press, like the original trilogy, and then boom, here goes this. So yeah, I found out when you did about the Gamorrean.
I know you did, but you didn't panic. I did. I think my face probably went paler than it usually is when I found out about that, but it's okay.
I think I like when Brent he does. He's looking I on the show I could tell Brent was just like, you know what? They threw it on our lap. Hey, let's run with it.
You know what he is though? Brent is that guy. Brent is like the tight end who you know is going to be open on a play. That's why it's like, all right, we'll roll with it, and it went great.
You know what? I like that. Brent is the George Kittle of the group. There we go. He's
he's going to be open. He's got that outlet pass ready to go.
There you
You're
go.
good.
For the fans in Indianapolis, I guess he'd be the Dallas Clark or something like that. Oh no, Tucker Kraft. Yeah, okay, yeah. Isn't that the Green Bay Packers tight end, Tucker Kraft?
I don't know who Tucker Kraft is actually, and I'm a football guy, so I feel wrong actually.
I'm pretty sure he just went crazy hog wild in the Packers game the other night.
See, I was big on the Packers tight end last year, and I can't remember his name. He was a rookie last year, and I really liked him. But is Squatch a cheesehead? Is he a Packers fan?
I don't know. We'll find out. Squatch, who do you root for? Who do you cheer for?
All right, Packers. I feel like I may have known that actually already. I feel like that's been thrown out there.
There we go. Luke Musgrave.
Luke Musgrave.
He's on. He is on it. See, now I feel like we need to expand our fantasy football league and
get Squatch in.
Get Squatch in there. Hold on real quick. We're getting a bunch of comments, so I want to read them. Not only did we get Thrawn with Mark Thompson, but we got him to do Marchion Rowe. So you're welcome, High Republic fans. Yeah, he does do him very well. And I remember interviewing him on our show and him talking about how he had to change the voice. And yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Man, I love it that we're learning all these things about people tonight, D-Doc. We're just getting all kinds of info.
This is what happens when you throw out a random late night Friday night podcast,
So I have to ask though, were there many Twi'leks at the
Saturday they showed up?
Okay, because I've not seen any pictures. I mean, you guys just didn't take any. You didn't, or they're on your private lines.
No, I don't think we got any pictures with them. It's just like Saturday we were kind of like, or no, it wasn't Saturday.
You were coming up for Friday night.
Yeah, Friday was when they showed up.
Okay.
Friday was a long day. Friday was pretty much we got done our interview and we're on a high and we're just like, let's go. We have the rest of the day, and it went into the night. It went into the late night.
Wow, there was a no picture event that had us mesmerized. Oh, okay. We'll talk about that in the after hours off air.
We'll hear about that for a long time.
We'll see. Maybe it's a good thing I did miss. Maybe there was a reason. Maybe God looked down and said, Joe, I'm going to put you in an area where you're not going to be around the mesmerized. Yeah. So Print was. Yes, I heard about this.
That dude was a unit. He was a big dude. Alfie got a picture of him.
Okay. Now I'm going to need to see some of that.
And he had the helmet on too. Like he had
Rebels.
Yeah. It was cool.
Good. Real quick, some other things just to throw out there silly. Have you watched Lego Rebuild the Galaxy yet?
Still haven't watched the full thing.
Okay.
I'm dropping the ball on that. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I just haven't watched it.
It was fun.
It's crazy.
It was silly. Billy D shows up at the end. It is funny. The hyperspace here, Aaron had said that, and yeah, it was fun, but fun, silly show. Leaves it open to do more of them. It was one of those. It was a multiverse without it screwing up and being a multiverse. So yeah, check that out. We've talked about the podcast have been going now. Let's see, 20, 21, 22, 23, almost 5 years of the podcast. But Rebels started 10 years ago. how crazy is it to think that Rebels is 10 years old?
It's
That's
crazy.
wild to me. I feel like Rebels is like still brand new, and it's yeah, 10 years old.
Time is flying way too fast.
Yeah.
I sometimes have Instagram things that remind me it's like this was 20 years ago. That means if you were born in 1991, this is comparable to that. And then I'm just like, oh my God, all right, I'm getting a little old, but I don't feel like it. So whatever.
Okay, well, speaking of that real quick, Brent's on here. I did trivia tonight. We did one of the questions was asking about the 27 Club or the Club 27, about all the people who died at 27 years old. And obviously Kurt Cobain came up in that. But do you realize that this year's the 30th anniversary of Kurt Cobain's death? 30 years. I mean, so how old were you when Kurt Cobain died, D-Doc?
3.
I mean, see, for me, it's a totally different thing. I'm sitting there going, "Oh shit!" I'm like, I cannot believe it's been 30 years.
See,
So,
he's just like he's to me like any other like rock legend or anything that just was before my time, just because you know, I'm still a 90s kid, but yeah, he was before my time. So
Brent wanted to know how trivia went. Brent, everybody missed you. We had 7 teams playing tonight. Very loud, raucous room. Everything went really well. They thought our questions were really difficult. I added in some other questions to go along with what you'd put together. So just let you know, it went real well. Except the funny thing is Lori was doing the math on the total points at the end, and somebody got 20 points at the end, and she put they lost 20 points at the end. So when we went to tally up the final scores, we had their number wrong, and then they caught it, and we looked, and we were like, oh, she had copy and paste minus 20 from one to the other. And yeah, so just to let you know, everything went well. So we're going to work on getting Lori a calculator when
you
we're.
didn't almost have a riot on your hands, did you? Were the
I
people
think
angry about it?
I think if we would have kept going and just said, "Oh, that's how it is," and then everybody left, there would have been a riot like out in the parking lot. But they caught it, then we caught it, and so we got it all fixed. So,
Okay, good.
but it went well. I did a lot of James Earl Jones questions because him passing. So it was good. Brent had some good questions up for that. Did you know, D-Doc, that James Earl Jones went to the University of Michigan?
No.
Okay. And he was the first celebrity to appear on Sesame Street.
Interesting. All
Yeah.
right.
See, we'll learn a little bit of everything here tonight.
He's just one of those he's one of those guys where it's like when he passed away, as weird as it sounds, I wasn't like sad because he just lived an awesome life and he's had such an influence through like film and everything on mine that I'm just like, you're gonna live forever for what you did. You
Oh yeah.
lived a great life. You know what I mean? And it's like I don't know. It's like he's a dude who does not deserve to suffer at an old age or anything. I mean, he's just when you talk about the goats of anything, he's on the list
Oh yeah.
without a doubt.
100%. I have to ask if Aaron's still on here from Hyperspace Heroes, what questions he did get to ask from or to Billy D.
He asked one of your questions. He asked one of yours. I did watch.
Okay.
I did watch it, and he did ask. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Man, I didn't know that. They're from Michigan, and he went to Michigan. I did not know that James Earl Jones was from up there. So
One of the craziest parts, Joe, is like right next to the podcast room. Like Warwick Davis was in the room next to us, so it was like every time I walked out of the room to either go to the bathroom or go do something, like I couldn't help but to like look to the right, and I felt like I made eye contact with Warwick Davis like every time I walked out of the room. It was so weird.
That is crazy. That's one because he's my age. I would have loved to have met him because that's pretty cool.
I did hear that. I did hear that in his room. What do they call it? The when he was talking in the big room there.
Yeah.
I did hear that Wookiee porn was brought up.
Yes.
In there at one point. So
yes.
I don't know that in that Star Wars inside joke, but I did hear that he brought that up. I'm not aware of that.
It's from the holiday special, and it's very weird because Grandpa Lumpy, I think, was or Itchy, one of the two. I don't remember. was watching like this person dance on a hologram thing. He just sat there, just mesmerized watching it. Just yeah. It's Say Brent Wookie porn. Yep, there we go. And Hyperspace Heroes painting Batman '89 Bingo Long movie. Ask me about Brian's song. Thank you. Um, yeah, I will go back and listen to it on ECPC TV because that
Speaking of Batman, this was a random one I got in Billy D. Batman Returns. I bought a random pack of Batman Returns cards. $3 in a room, like
wow.
from 1991. I'm like, I looked at the back of it. I'm just like, 1991. That's the year I was born. I was like, I'll buy that. And me and David did a little
Card
opening of
opening.
them.
That's fantastic. There you go. Virtual reality Wookiee porn. There we go. Thank you, Dr. Squatch. Yeah. Well, I'm going to have to go back and listen to Hyperspace and Billy D because I didn't get a chance to catch up on that yet. Work has been driving me absolutely crazy. But yeah, I don't. Anything else you want to cover or anything? Well, I know we'll need to have a session where it's me, you, Brent, and Alfie offline, hearing the other stuff. So we'll do that before the next show next week.
No, I mean, I had a great time, and it's just a reminder why we do this. It's awesome. It's just fun, and it's just cool to hang out. And we obviously missed you there, but it's just cool to like see Brent and Alfie and not feel like they're, we haven't known each other for
Yeah,
our whole lives or anything, but it's just like we show up, we're cool with each other. It's like totally comfortable. It's awesome.
it
It's great. It's why we do this. I
it,
feel
it
like it's like the Super Bowl of why we do this. You know what I mean?
100%, and I agree with you because let's face it, we met last year face to face at ICCC. We've been talking now since 2021, I think, and then I went and
Crazy. It's crazy time.
I went and bugged you and stayed the night at your house. Fortunately, I didn't mess any. I don't think I messed anything up for you. I didn't plug any toilets or,
Not at all.
anything weird like that.
I could have got some content out of that though, so it's okay.
I did. I did mess with your drum set, so hopefully, not like Step Brothers. You're not going to do anything. Yeah, but I mean, it's
okay, Brent, Joe, you're not going to understand that.
nope. I don't understand Brent's thing of sand people, but I'm waiting to hear that offline. So yes, next week before our show, let's the four of us get on there before, spend a good quality time going through all this stuff, so then we can talk other stuff and not get ourselves in trouble. So, but let's keep doing the plan. But I think it would be great sometime, and I've talked to Steve Glosson about it. I've talked to Scott Rifen about it. Talked to Adam Bray about it. I brought it up to the Hyperspace Heroes guys. There's other people like Michael Nip, who's a friend of the show, who has his own podcast, the Deuce Cast. But I thought, how great would it be if we did sometime a day where we're just going to line up and we're going to do podcasts somewhere and bring everybody in who listens to us, and then do like ICCC or Great Ohio Toy Show and just invite a bunch of comic dealers, toy dealers, all that stuff, and say, come in, we'll fill up a room. You guys sell your stuff. We'll do some podcasts and just hang out because
put the podcast right in the middle of
exactly 100%. Just do it in a hotel or something like that, and make it to where we all just have fun. Because honestly, just getting all these people together, going and getting the people who we talked to, Dr. Squatch, Willie Harms, the people on YouTube who make comments on our stuff and everything all the time. Here we go, Aaron. I'm gonna leave Aaron's stuff offline here. He's just sent me a message. I don't think I'm supposed to read it here. But I mean, if all of us just took the people who listen to our shows and say, you know what, don't even worry. We're not worried about cost or anything. Let's just all show up somewhere, have fun, tell stories, have drinks. I think that would be fantastic. And I know it's a pipe dream and silly because, who would go and do that? But I still think it would be a lot of fun. Alfie even said it earlier, Rule the Galaxy Fest 2025, so.
Joe, you ran like a baseball organization, didn't you?
I did. And we
Come
used
on,
to,
man. You're built for this.
We used to do Dr. Squatch, I'd be there. We used to do an annual meeting where we'd have hundreds of families. There you go. Dr. Squatch almost came. You know what? Let's do this. The easiest one. And I'll start talking to everybody now. Hyperspace Heroes, this includes you. You're listening. Great Ohio Toy Show in March. Let's start planning it now. Let's face it, baseball is just really starting to kick off. March Madness is going on.
Don't talk about baseball, man.
I know I'm not allowed to. I'm sorry. I was really cheering on the Phils too.
I'm still hurt. I'm still hurting.
Yeah, but it's centralized location, right? Ohio. We got people from Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Georgia. We can bring everybody together. We can have great fun walking around that place all day, and then do some podcasts and stuff like that. I'm going to start putting the plan together right now, March 2025. So
I could definitely get Joe Doc in on that trip as well.
He would lose his mind when he walked into those halls. I mean, you think there's a lot of toys at ICCC? Alfie will be the first one to tell you. There's those big long animal things they have at fairs and things like that, or Johnson County Fair, Marion County Fair. You guys have those around you, right, D-Doc?
Yeah.
Those things are all full of just nothing but toys. Just like you go pay $10 and you walk in and all you do is just look at toys all day long. So we add some podcasts to that. We'd have a great time. Here we go. It's Willy Wonka's factory for toy collectors. You are correct, Alfie. See, we're building it. All right,
hopefully
boys.
I follow all the rules correctly when I go there and don't
you don't get taken by the Oompa Loompas.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Explain your avatar to another content creator at ICCC.
Do you have your avatar? Where's your avatar on here? You don't have it on here. Or is he talking about Dr. Squatch?
Yes, he's talking about Dr. Squatch.
I'm sitting there going, I don't see. All right.
I thought he was talking about you at first, Joe. And then once I realized he's talking about Squatch, yes. Because I think we said like Dr. Squatch comment or something like that. They're like, Dr. Squatch, that's funny. We're like, yeah, he's like, he has like the best profile picture ever.
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome. Now I'm pumped. Now you get me something to shoot for. All right. You heard it. Anybody who's listening now, that's the plan. Start putting your calendars. March 2025. I'll start finding the dates. We'll get D-Doc. We'll get
Hammerheads
Squatch.
and R5s, hyperspace. Hammerheads and R5s.
Is that what they just I know they bought
Aaron's building his R5 army and Scruffy bought in. I'm telling you, Joe, I saw, like the gallon freezer bags? He had one of those filled with hammerheads.
Oh my gosh.
That's when I was just like, I need to find hammerheads. I need to find a Jawa for Joe. I need to look at all these vintage figures. And then the more I was looking at them, the more I was like, I get it. This was the start of what I love now.
Okay. It is. And like I said, my wife and I have nothing to do tomorrow. So we're going to clean up the playroom where the kids play. And I'm going to start working on all this to make it look more presentable. So
Joe, if you have any shelf ideas for your guys, let me know. I would love to make something because I'm thinking if I'm going to start collecting them myself, I'm probably going to make something specifically for them. And I'm sure Vader is probably the tallest one out of all of them because
Vader and Chewie.
I love that they even had the thought to make Vader so tall compared to the rest of them too. Like that's one thing that I'm like just thought about. I'm like, it's cool that they actually gave Vader the height. Like they made him bigger than everyone.
Well, that is honestly what I used to use a lot was floating shelves. The just the small little like 2-inch deep floating shelves.
Yeah.
They worked really well on there and you could just line them and they're really nice and pristine looking. But yeah, that's
what this one kind of almost looks like a floating shelf, but I just have two little tiny brackets at the top. So like you kind of can't tell, you kind of can't see where they are, but they're there. And that's why that shelf It was my first ever woodworking project. Turned into a little pleasant surprise. You've been trying to wrap this up, and I'm sidelined.
No, you're not. I'm not. You and I talked about doing this for half an hour, and it just looked. We've been going for almost an hour.
This is just what happens.
And I love that everybody's chiming in at 11 something. No, it's midnight. Okay,
I know. Should we switch to our podcast to 11 p.m. on Friday nights?
I think we might get more traction.
I know.
Well, hey, I'll hit you with some stuff real quick offline before we go. But this was fantastic. This was great. For everybody, Brent, Alfie, D-Doc, Hyperspace Heroes, Dr. Squatch, everybody who's been involved. I love the conversation. I love to have this back and forth. Thank you for doing this and everything. And D-Doc, thanks for giving me that little feel like I was there with
Absolutely.
you guys. So even our pre-talk and now
you're the reason you're the reason we're there. So you got we need you to speak through us while we're there. So you're the reason for it.
Well, I appreciate it, man. To everybody who was part of it, thanks. Thanks. We'll like I said, I'm going to start putting the plans in now, and we'll have some. We'll start getting some people talking. We'll see what we can do. But until next week, when we go back to the regular show, and hopefully Brent and Alfie are available. Hey, thanks for joining, and may the force be with you.